Hey, what is going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and we're back over here, as you can see, at the PSP because there has been a newer update in one of the latest ARK-4 firmware revisions that I wanted to show you all on here. Now, this is opening up something a little bigger here, and this is on the topic of UMD movies. Now, these are really the only two I have right here, Stealth and part of the first season of Beavis and Butthead. I've had them in my collection for quite a while here, but I've been a little bit surprised because although the PSP can do quite a bit, you can see not only it's a game player, but it also plays movies, music, photos, all that fun stuff. I was a little bit surprised to see that not just recently, but over the years, people have been asking me about UMD movie playback on here, specifically being able to mount the ISOs and play them like you would a standard UMD movie or UMD film. It definitely surprised me because there's more robust and better ways to portably watch movies, but I suppose for people who really want to stick with the PSP experience from about 20 years ago, it is a nice nostalgic blast into the past. However, to my understanding, mounting UMD videos has always been clunky, to put it a little bit lightly. So that is something that ARK-4 has sought to fix up, and it seems like they did. For anyone who does not know, ARK-4 is a custom firmware for the PSP, and it is currently the latest and greatest custom firmware available. Not only it does succeed other firmwares such as Pro, ME, or LME, but on top of that, even here in 2025 and beyond, this has been supported for several years, and it is continuing to be supported and continuing to get more updates on here, with one of them being, at the time of recording this here, revision 170, which you can see here, they're stating that this is to celebrate 1,000 stars over on their GitHub repository, but they have also opted to change up and overhaul how UMD videos are loaded up and played on the PSP, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So for this video here, I'm going to be showing you all, if you have a PSP running the ARK-4 custom firmware, how you can get updated to the latest revision that supports this. On top of that, I'll also be showing how you can back up some of your UMD video releases, such as these two right here, and I'll show you, of course, how to copy them over and get them running on the PSP itself. Now, this is going to require a few prerequisites. First of all, you do have to have a PSP already running the ARK-4 custom firmware. I have videos showing how to do this, whether you have a stock or modded system, and they'll be linked down below in the description. Definitely recommend checking those ones out. On top of that, if you are going to be backing up from your own collection, like I'm going to be doing right here, you are going to need a PSP 1000, 2000, 3000, or street model with a working UMD drive on there. Unfortunately, you cannot do this on the go because it doesn't have a UMD drive, but you can at least play back those ISOs on a go if you wish to. Lastly, you are also going to need a way to transfer data to and from your PSP's storage, whether that's on a PSP Go or one of these other PSP models that's using a memory stick of some kind or a memory stick adapter. Now, I'll say this here, for this video, I'm going to be going the USB method, so I'm going to be using a mini USB cable here. Now, the reason why I'm calling out the mini USB cable here is because if you have backed up PSP UMD discs in the past, for games, I've been able to use PSP Filer successfully, which is nice because it backs them up directly to the PSP itself. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, with UMD video discs, these did not work on PSP Filer for whatever reason, so we are going to be doing this through the USB method here, which means we're going to have to copy them to our computer and then back over to the PSP itself. I'm not sure what's up with this, but like I said, I tried these UMD video discs, backing them up on PSP Filer, and it did not work for whatever reason, but it works fine with games. Now let's go ahead and get our PSP up to date on the latest ARK-4 custom firmware. Now just keep this in mind, when you're watching this in the future here, there's probably going to be a higher revision, but you need to be on, at minimum, revision 170. And there's several ways where you can update your custom firmware on here, but since I'm going to be using a USB cable, well, I'm just going to hook this up through my USB cable. If you're doing this here, before you hook it up, make sure you go to your select button here to bring up the VSH menu, and make sure for your USB device you have memory stick selected. Now that that's been selected, we can go ahead, exit out of here, navigate over to USB connection, and hook up your USB cable. If you'd like to update alongside me here, you can go to the ARK-4 GitHub repository linked down below in the description, and then come over to the releases section. You're going to want to find the latest release and click on it here. Again, you need at minimum revision 170. Once you're here, you can check out the release notes and such, and then you can click on the ARK-4 zip file and save this somewhere you can easily find it. Once you have this downloaded, you're going to find your ARK-4 zip file. You can go ahead, right click the zip file, and go ahead and extract it out into its own own folder. I personally use 7-zip, but whatever works should work out for you. Now you can open up the ARK-4 folder, and inside of here, you're going to find a update folder. Go ahead, right click this update folder and copy it out. Now go over to your drives, make sure your PSP is hooked up or the storage is hooked up, navigate into that drive, go into the PSP directory, go into the game directory, and within here, if you have an update folder, you're going to have to delete that or rename it to something else. I don't want to fully delete it, so I'm just going to rename it to update 1, for example, and you can change that back, but you can right click and paste your update folder inside of here. Once that's been updated, we can come back out here, right click, eject, and navigate back over to the PSP. Back over at the PSP, we can disconnect our USB cable. Now we can go back here, navigate over to our game column, go into the memory stick or the storage section wherever you have saved this to, and wait for it to load up. Now you should see an application here called ARK-4 Update. All you need to do is tap into this and make sure it works. And once it launches, just wait a few seconds. It's now going to go through the process of installing the latest ARK-4 update, and then it will restart your PSP. Now once your PSP restarts and you're back at the XMB, press the select button and you can look up here, and as long as you see a revision that is at least 170, then you should be good at this point to continue on. Now let's go ahead and work on getting our PSP movies backed up here. The first thing you're going to need to do is take your UMD based movie and pop it into the PSP. Now it should populate in your XMB, but I end up picking this PSP on purpose because you see my films are released in the North American region, meaning that they would be region 1 films. However, this is a Japanese PSP, so you can see here I'm getting a warning stating that this is not for the correct region. If you're getting something like this, you're going to have to exit out of here. Now hit the select button to bring up your VSH menu, make sure you are in the advanced version, and you must navigate down to the UMD region, and you're going to need to switch this manually to the UMD region that the UMD is looking for. There's no way out of this, unfortunately. This is how you have to play and read those discs, so you will have to do this here. But mine is set to default, which should be Japan, but you can switch over to, mine is going to be America, for example. Once that's been switched over, we can go ahead, close out of that, close out of that. Now I'm going to go through the effort of removing the UMD disc and popping it back in, and let's wait and see what happens. And there you go. As you can see, it loads up right here and it is displaying, which means that we've been able to spoof our region successfully. Now the next thing you're going to need to do is go to the select button yet again, and up at the top where it shows USB device, you're going to need to switch that over to UMD. And once the UMD setting has been switched over, you can press the select button to close out of here, press select yet again. Now navigate over to your settings, go to USB connection, and hook this up to your PC. Over at the PC, you should see that your PSP is hooked up and it should look a little bit different here, but if you navigate into this, you're going to only see one file, which is umd9660.iso. You'll want to right click, copy this file. Now navigate over wherever you want to save this onto your PSP. I've already created a folder for PSP movies, and you want to right click and paste this here. It's now going to begin the copying process, which you can see is going to take a decent amount of time here. This is about 22 minutes for a single UMD, so really all you have to do is sit here and wait. So since this took a while, I took the opportunity to bag up both my discs, which I'm glad I did because the second one did struggle a little bit, but now I have it archived, thankfully. So at this point now, once you are done, you can go ahead, exit out of USB mode, and once you've exited out of here, we're going to go ahead and remove the disc since we're not going to need it, since the whole point of this is running it off of a memory stick. And here we go, got the disc, so I'll just move this somewhere, keep it safe. Now in order to copy these movies back onto our PSP itself, you're going to have to go to the VSH menu by sitting at the XMB, hitting the select option, and within the advanced settings here, this setting that you changed over to UMD for the USB device, you can go ahead and change that back over to memory stick. And if you want to go in and change your UMD region back to default or whatever it was before, you can go ahead and do that as well. We can now go ahead, exit out of here, exit out yet again, and since I'm going to be using USB for this transfer, well, I'm going to go right back into USB. Now for our actual UMD movie ISOs, they're going to look something like this here. I have one ISO, I have the other one, which this one I need to rename to Stealth. And for this here, if you're going to be within Windows, I'd recommend going to the View option, go to Show, and make sure File Name Extensions has been enabled. From here, you can go ahead, right click, rename this and call it whatever you're wanting to. I'm going to call it Stealth because, well, that makes sense here. So it needs to be, moviename.iso, whatever you're wanting it to show up as on your PSP. Now you might be a little confused as to why I have photos here, and this is because this is strictly optional, but if you want to give your discs some thumbnail art, you can actually provide that as long as you bring over a JPEG file, and it must be the same name as the ISO. So for example, I'll actually go into View, and I'm going to change this to Details. This is how it should look here. You could see I have Beavis and Butthead Volume 1.iso, so that means the matching image must be called Beavis and Butthead Volume 1.jpg. And same thing with Stealth. I have stealth.iso, so the accompanying image is going to be stealth.jpg. You can grab these off of Google Images wherever you're wanting to. You can edit them. They just need to be the same file name that is going to match the ISO, and they also have to be in JPEG format. So now that we have that sorted, let's go ahead and get these copied over. You just need to grab all of your ISOs and images, right-click, copy them out. Now navigate over to wherever your storage device is, navigate in here, and within the root of your PSP storage, go to the ISO folder, and within here, you're going to need to navigate into the video folder. They cannot just go into the regular ISO folder, they have to go into ISO and video. And if you do not have a video folder, you're going to have to create one, and then right click and paste, just like that. It's going to take some time to copy back over, but a lot less time here. It's about 3.2 gigs. That's the other thing, these UMD movies are pretty big for what they are here, so really all you have to do is wait. So now that we've gotten everything copied over, again, like I said, this is going to be in not the ISO folder, but the ISO and video folder. It should look like this, and again, the actual JPEGs are optional, but this is where you're going to be putting in your video ISOs. From here, you can go ahead, exit out of here, right click, eject your USB drive or your memory stick, your PSP, whatever you're using, and then navigate back over to the system. The remainder of the tutorial is going to be on there, and that's going to be the fun part. Now that we're back over at the PSP, let's get those video ISOs mounted. So for this here, it's going to be a little bit different than typical game ISOs and even typical video ISOs or movie ISOs, because if you've used this functionality before, you would know that you typically have to go to the VSH menu, and then from here, you go in and you mount your ISO. You're not going to be doing that anymore. Instead, you're going to exit out of here, but we're going to go over to the video column, go into your storage device, and once it loads in here, you're going to see that your ISOs will show up just like video files. Now, the downside to mine is that you can see that both of them are loaded in here, but unfortunately, the JPEGs I end up copying over don't display on here. I'm going to probably chalk that up to a certain type of formatting that the JPEG itself needs. If that's something that really bugs you, you can delve further into it. For me, I don't really mind not having the thumbnails, so that's going to be okay. But either way, go ahead, select which ISO you want to use, go ahead, tap into that. It's going to bring you to a black screen, but you can see that the memory stick is doing a little bit of activity. Now it's going to reboot like this, and don't worry, you didn't do anything wrong. This is how it is with a video ISO. Once it brings you to the XMB, you're going to see that it's actually going to emulate a UMD disk right there. And there's nothing in the drive at all. So you can go ahead, tap the X button right here, wait for this to load in, and you can see, actually I tried this out before, it loaded a lot faster off of the ISO as opposed to the UMD, which is expected, but you can see right here, it is loading. Now, I probably can't show all too much of this just due to Content ID. However, if we want to exit out of this, I'm going to tap this, and you can see all of the menu options come up here, similar to like a PS2, for example, like DVD playback on there. So there's one of the ISOs. If you want to change it out and mount another one, you can go back to your video section, and once you're in here, navigate to any other ISO. I'm going to pick Stealth, and it looks like it's going to do the same thing. So it is mounting it, it's going to do a bit of a reboot on the PSP, and it should mount it as a UMD. Let's go ahead and wait and see. And there we go. That one is Stealth. So I'm going to tap the X button on here yet again, and you can see it very quickly loads up. So that's really all there is to this here. So congratulations if you were able to get this far. You now have a cleaner way of loading up your UMD movie ISOs. Now, one thing I am going to ask you all about this here is if you are using UMD movie ISOs, if you're watching movies on the PSP, I guess what are you going to watch? What is the intention on here? And I guess why do you enjoy that? Because that is something I am curious about. Like I said, this is nothing new on here. This feature's been around for a while, and it was even built into the system itself, at least playing like video files off the memory stick here. But I will say in the modern day, it did surprise me that there were more people than you would expect that were requesting a video like this. So let me know. Either way, that is about it for this video here. This is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would absolutely be appreciated, and if you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too.